Hey folks, Dustin Zarni here, Democratic Elections Commissioner of Onondaga County, and welcome to Commissioner in a Car. Today's episode is about the apparent winner in New York SD 50, and that is Chris Ryan. I'm coming to you a couple of days late because I wanted to get to the point where I thought it might get to today, which is that Chris Ryan has garnered enough votes between the absentees on Tuesday and the affidavits on Friday in both Oswego County and Onondaga County to elevate himself well above the 0.5% hand count threshold. That's where we are. So why is that 0.5% threshold important? Because that's the hand count. If a race in New York State is less than 0.5%, then it is too close to call, and we actually have to hand inspect and count every ballot in that race to make sure that we have enough votes to determine the winner, and that the right winner is determined. So when we started this little journey on election night, and sorry I didn't post last week or after the election, I was just too tired to do a Commissioner in a Car. And this week I wanted to wait till Friday because on Tuesday, we got this last Tuesday, well, on election night, Chris Ryan was ahead with both Oswego and Onondaga County unofficial totals, but it was 0.34%. So it was under the hand count threshold, so they couldn't declare a presumptive winner. The media couldn't declare it. We don't do that until certification. And in a case like this, where the race goes beyond the county lines, it's actually the New York State certifies the winner. So we have a little time here on that before we declare it. But since it was, under the 0.5%, or there was no way for them to have a declarative winner on election night. So then on Tuesday of this last week, both Oswego County and Onondaga County uploaded all of our absentees that were straggling coming in after Election Day. And by Tuesday of this week, Chris Ryan increased his lead from 0.34% to 0.93%. But then on Wednesday, Oswego County did all 615 of their affidavit ballots for the race, which brought the total down to 0.81%. Because Nick Parro did very well in Oswego County, as this district does, where it's very red in Oswego County, which is about a third of the district, and very blue, or light blue, in Onondaga County, which is 2/3 of the district, and it balances it out. But today, in Onondaga County, we did our 2,200 or so affidavit ballots for New York Senate District 50, and Chris Ryan picked up 87 votes out of those 2,200, a net of 87 votes. That means that there aren't enough votes left for Nick Parro to win, to bring it into the hand count margin. There's about 380, 400 votes that are going to be countywide in Onondaga County that are ballots that the machine can't read for one reason or another, and we will manually adjudicate them starting Tuesday. But there's just not enough. He could win all of what's in SD50 and not be able to bring the vote total down to get into the hand count. So both candidates have declared, Chris Ryan has declared victory. Nick Parro has conceded and congratulated him. And again, this is the way it's supposed to happen. I want to be thankful to both Chris Ryan and Nick Parro. Chris Ryan waited until all the votes were counted. Nick Parro, once all the votes were counted, he conceded. This is how it should happen. And this is the second time that SD50 has had this close race, and both candidates acted responsibly. 2 years ago, Rebecca Sherroff lost by 10 votes. John Mannion waited till the final court day to declare victory, and Rebecca Sherroff accepted that declaratory judgment and conceded gracefully. So, Central New York, thank you. You're doing a great job about accepting election results and honoring those election results. So, both sides of the aisle on this race and 2 years ago, and really every race, has done a good job. Now, sorry, still a little tired. But that's the end of SD50, but not really. And why? Because we still will count every ballot that's coming in. We have ballots coming in with cures. We have ballots coming in from military federal ballots. We have ballots coming in, those manually adjudicated absentee and affidavit ballots. All of those have to be counted. We have to register all of the affidavit voters. Now that's only about 2,300 in SD50, but 5,500, which I believe is a record. I'm going to have to look at my records on this, or at least a modern day record of how many affidavits that we've processed this year. So all of those registrations have to be done. We have to continue going through all the supplies, uploading the voter history, all of this stuff to be done with our certification, which is scheduled for November 30th of 2024. And then once that's done, once the certification is done, we send that and transmit the results to New York State Board of Elections. And that's where races like Congress, both Senate districts, Assembly District 127 and 126, those are actually certified by the New York State Board of Elections because they cross county lines. However, when we certify on November 30th, we'll certify all the races inside Onondaga County. Oh, and of course the statewide races like the Senate and the proposition. That's all certified by the state. But we will certify and have winners for like family court judge. By the way, congratulations, Christina Albiati. Another Democrat winning countywide for family court judge. It's and by the way, in all of the races where Democrats were running countywide, president, Senate, Congress, Democrats carried Onondaga County by a wide margin. So it's, Democrats continue their winning ways for the countywide elections, with the two exceptions in the last few years being county executive and DA. So Democrats have a lot to be proud of here locally. Now, of course, nationally, not so much. Losing the presidency, losing the House, losing the Senate, that's a tough blow. I'm not ready to talk about that yet. I haven't processed that yet. I think, in an upcoming Commissioner in a Car, I definitely will process that and talk about it. But right now, I'm still kind of on post-election low power mode. So I'm not going to be talking about that today. I wanted to focus on SD50. And so Chris Ryan will leave the county legislature. That leaves open Onondaga County Legislature 8th seat. That means the Senate or the county legislature Democrats are reduced to 5. Ryan McMahon, the county exec, will have the opportunity to appoint someone to that seat. There is nothing in Onondaga County Charter about a same party appointment or anything like that. So he will probably appoint a Republican. That we saw that with the Bill Kinney seat when who left? Somebody left, and they put in Miles Bottrell, and Bill Kinney won that seat. We've seen that before, where they put in a Republican, and then the Democrat wins the seat. OCLA is seen as a safe Democratic seat, though it'll be interesting to see what happens with the county ledge redistricting. I'll talk more about that next week, because to be quite honest, I haven't been as involved. But there is a public hearing on Tuesday for the new maps on that, and I don't think I'll be going to that, but I'll be watching it. So, but because I'm not involved. This has gone through the county legislature, not the county redistricting commission, so I have no formal role. Though as a fair districting activist, I do believe that the Democrats should put up a better map than what the Republicans have put up, which is minor changes, and we'll see what they do. My understanding is that they will. So we'll see what that happens on Tuesday. But, so OCL 8 is right now a safe Democratic seat. I doubt there will be major changes passed by the county legislature to change that. So Mr. McMahon may put in a Republican, and we'll see whether the Democrats put up a candidate. That election will be next year, which was going to be that election anyways. There is no special election, no to-fill vacancy election. The replacement serves until the end of the year, and then whoever's elected in November of 2025 will serve. The question will be, will they serve 1 year or 2? Because the even year legislation, and I'll do more on that as later in the month, but the even year legislation that was ruled unconstitutional by Judge Neary back in early October has been appealed by New York State, and it's going not to the appellate court, but it's going to the Court of Appeals, which is the top court. The New York State Attorney General decided to bypass the appellate court and went straight to the Court of Appeals. We'll see when a date is coming on that. And if that legislation is upheld in the Court of Appeals, then anybody running for any county ledge seat next year will be running for 1 year. But again, I'm waiting for a court date on that. I'm part of that litigation. And once that litigation date comes about, we'll do a little bit of a... we'll probably do a Commissioner Carr once the Court of Appeals rules on that about what that means next year. So it's quite possible whoever's running for County Ledge 8 will have to run for 1 year instead of a full term. And whoever is appointed by County Exec McMahon will serve for 1 year and then have to run for one more 1 year term and then run for a 2 year term in an even year. So a lot of things going on, a lot of moving parts there. Speaking of moving parts in county legislature, I was reappointed for another 2 year term this last week. It was, I don't really have much to say about that. This has been a tough year. There's a lot that goes into a presidential election, a lot of work, a lot of pressure, and I'm honored to be your elections commissioner, your Democratic elections commissioner. I love working in the office. I love the job I do. I'm glad I'm going to be able to do it for another 2 years. It's a relief. And I am going to be trying to figure out, what the direction is over the next 2 years, as we have to every year, because elections change each and every year. I think the big change that will happen next year is probably that even year legislation, whether that's upheld by the Court of Appeals. That could change a lot in next year. But later this year, I'll do a preview of 2025 and what's on the ballot for that. But so those are the things that I wanted to update you on. Again, wrapping up, Chris Ryan is the apparent winner with a current margin of 0.85% for New York Senate District 50. That's the last race that's in question in Onondaga County. With that, there's a few hundred votes coming in next week, but we plan on certifying November 30th. The even year that means that Chris Ryan's county ledge 8th seat will be vacant come January 1st. County Exec Ryan McMahon will be able to appoint that position. We don't know the district that person will be running in next year, as the maps for Onondaga County have to be redrawn. There's a public hearing for that on Tuesday. I was reappointed for another 2-year term by the county legislature Democrats. And the even year legislation that may alter all of the political landscape in 2025 was sent directly to the Court of Appeals by the New York State Attorney General. And all of that will be happening over the next couple of months. So though I don't have a hand count in December, I think I'm going to be quite busy. My content schedule has been a little rough over the last couple of months because of the amount of hours I've been working. I do plan on thinking, bringing back at least the weekly wonk soon. And I'm thinking about what to do with Zoom and Zarni. I don't know if 2 podcasts a week is just too much. Plus a weekly article. I may do weekly wonk every other week and then Zoom and Zarni every other week. I'm kind of playing around with that. But Commissioner in the Car, this is the thing that I've been doing weekly mostly since 2020. I'm going to keep doing because I've heard from you that it's informative, that you like it, and I like doing it. So that will return next week again probably on Wednesdays from now on. So that's, me kind of thinking out loud about what I'm doing. You can find all of this at dustinzarni.com, and you can subscribe. It'll always be for free, and you can get all your content and election news updates. Thank you again for watching. Thank you again for listening. Thank you again for voting and making your voice heard. Onondaga County had an incredibly successful election day, incredibly successful early voting and absentee voting. Very proud of my staff, very proud of you, the voters, and very proud of the candidates who have respected our electoral system by waiting for the process to play out before conceding and before declaring victory. So again, thank you very much and enjoy your weekend. Bye-bye.